medieval punishment devices that really existed. The Iron Maiden. The spiked Iron Maiden is one of the best-known props of fake medieval cruelty, but historians discovered it appeared much later, and showpiece versions were displayed later than the Middle Ages. In reality, the story takes off from modern-era writing rather than medieval documentation, so what you're really looking at is a legend that outgrew its evidence. The Pair of Anguish. The pair is often presented as a medieval Inquisition staple, yet research suggests otherwise. According to historians, objects called pairs first appeared in the mid-19th century. You know what that means? We don't have medieval-era evidence for this crazy contraption, which is probably for the best. The Chastity Belt. You've undoubtedly heard it before. Crusading husbands locking up their wives with this brutal device. However, the whole thing is widely treated as a myth. In fact, research suggests that surviving examples are actually argued to be Victorian reproductions. So, while you can still find the idea everywhere, the medieval framing doesn't have the support. The Brazen Bull. Lists of medieval devices regularly include the Brazen Bull, but the story isn't tied to medieval Europe. We can trace the legend back to Phalaris of Acragas and the alleged bronze bull in the 6th century BC, which places the tale far outside the Middle Ages. Chinese water torture. Despite the name, the method isn't presented as a traditional Chinese technique, and it's not medieval in the way you think. The earliest known version is documented in late 15th century Bologna, and the term itself arrived much later. The thumbscrew. The thumbscrew is frequently waved around as a medieval fixture, but historians discovered its emergence in early modern Europe, not the medieval period. Museums themselves pinpoint it from the Middle Ages to the Industrial Era, so while you might still see it marketed as medieval, the documented framing shows otherwise. The Scavengers Daughter. It may sound like a quasi-cute fable, but this horrendous binding device was anything but. Though real, calling it medieval muddies the period. It's associated with Tudor-era state power. The Royal Armories describes the Scavenger's Daughter as invented in the reign of Henry VIII, tying it to the 16th century. The ducking stool. People often treat the ducking stool, a device used for public humiliation and punishment, as a medieval throwback, but the term and the apparatus show up in later records. The earliest record of it is actually toward the beginning of the 17th century. Scold's bridal. While people often toss the scold's bridal into medieval tales, its true documented origin points to the 16th century. Often used on women who were considered gossips, or even town drunkards, you can read about its infancy in Scotland in 1567, which places it after the medieval period. The rack. Hang on just a second, we're really here to clear the air. Yes, racks existed. No, not in every medieval castle. The device is well attested in ancient contexts, but selective examples inflate its supposed medieval ubiquity. Though it seems fitting that every king had one of these in his basement, it's really just conjecture.